All right. Our next review is going to be for Invincible season two. We
Nice.
reviewed the first few episodes of Invincible season two when it came out. Then it had its mid-season break, and then we were just kind of going like, we're going to just wait until it all finally kind of wraps up and everything like that to give our kind of final thoughts on it. And now that it has, we can finally do that. So, season two of Invincible finally done away with here. It is an adaptation of the Robert Kirkman series. Um, Kirkman has also done big things such as The Walking Dead before, but Invincible. I think the first season people really loved. People were very impressed with it. Some people consider it one of the best superhero media out here right now. If you're sick of superhero stuff, I think this is stuff that kind of breaks it up for you. I think
Yeah.
something along the line of The Boys. This is on Amazon Prime, where you can people can check it out. So if you remember kind of what happened a lot of season one, and we're going to be spoiling season one in case you haven't seen that, so we're going to be doing that. Mark realized his father was a fucking fascist. He was going to be taking over the world. He was a plant on Earth there that was kind of going to, plant to conquer for the Viltrumite Empire. He's going to conquer Earth for the Viltrumites. And then he ended up kind of running away when he had a confrontation with Mark, and couldn't do it. Couldn't end up killing him when Mark was trying to stop him. And a lot of this season is Mark dealing with the aftermath of that. And Mark here is voiced by Steven Yeun in this, and he's like, I don't want to be my father. Don't want to be him. I want to be better than him. I want to be a hero, the hero who I thought he was. And it's a lot of him trying to really grapple with that and tackle that. And then also this season is setting up a lot of like future threats as well that we're going to be seeing in later seasons, especially if you read the comics, what's probably going to be coming later on. Especially with the Viltrumites, other antagonists in this, and also kind of one of an antagonist that you see in this is some new addition to the cast, Sterling K. Brown, who's Angstrom Levy
Yeah.
there, whose power is that he can travel through the multiverse and travel through different dimensions there. Yeah, and of course, the stat cast that you have here: J.K. Simmons, Sandra Oh, Walton Goggins there, who's the Nick Fury for a lot of these superheroes here.
Yeah.
Zazie Beetz, who plays Mark's girlfriend Amber in this. Gillian Jacobs, who plays Adam Eve. Jason Mantzoukas, who plays Rex Splode. Um, and of course, it's also dealing with a lot of the team dynamics here of the Guardians of the Globe. There's a new Guardians of the Globe now because the old one got turned into dust, basically. I mean, they got splattered like tomatoes there by Omni Man. So you see kind of the dynamics of that team and kind of what's going on there, and them trying to step up to fill those shoes and those roles there. And what I like about Invincible is, it's kind of in the middle between something like Justice League and something like The Boys, where you know what I mean? It's not as nihilist as something like The Boys, where all people with powers are rapists apparently, and sexual predators. It kind of still states the importance of people with powers, that you can still be kind of virtuous, but it also highlights the reality of how dangerous this job really is of being a hero. Of you could really die at any moment, and you do kind of see that here with this. So I'm gonna go around, get you guys' thoughts on this season two, because some people are saying this might be weaker than season one.
Mm,
I started with Dusk last time. Mike, let me get your opinion on season two of Invincible.
I think season two is a very good, refreshing. If you're sick of superheroes, and by that I mean if you're sick of Marvel and DC, and even to some extent the boys now, that Invincible is a great refresher, like original universe for you to get into that has been a thing for like years in the comics. But uh, what I love so much about Invincible is that how uh, grounded and like relatable it feels in a lot of way without it feeling like it's trying to be overly uh like it's not trying to be relatable as a way to like be with the kids and like hit that demographic. It feels like it's just like an average like look of like, okay, what would it actually look like if superheroes on this level were real? Like if And I like how despite obviously like characters, it being a thing, superhero powers being a thing, and like magic being a thing for years, and that like characters can destroy mountains. We never quite get to the insane level of stuff like DC Comics or Dragon Ball Z, or stuff like that, despite obviously taking influence from it, where characters can just level a moon with like a casual attack. It's like this is just an average like casual day in the life of a superhero like drama. It's more of a it's a family drama in a lot of respects, the whole series. And I really, really respect Robert Kirkman's ability to see his comic that came out, God, 15 years ago, and adapt it, but also do it in a way where he's able to see some stuff that he himself has been open about not liking in his comic, and tackling it in a different way here, or doing it the way where it's more interesting, such as like Mark's relationship with Omni Man from the get go uh, in this series as opposed to the comic. And I think Invincible's a really special. I do hope it gives more of an opportunity, or tells more people that like, hey, you can do your own superhero stuff that isn't connected to an already like established property, even though this technically was. I mean, like, because apparently no one heard of Invincible uh, until like this came out. So it's like if I felt like I was like one of the few hundred people that heard about it, but now it's funny seeing people say words like conquest and like battle beast and like Virtuemite.
Mm, yeah. I would say
Yeah.
I haven't heard of Invincible for the show. What about you, Dust? Have you heard of the Invincible for the show?
No.
Mhm.
Same with Walking Dead. Nobody
Mhm.
knew what the hell Walking Dead was
Yeah.
until the show came out.
I think I
Yeah.
And
knew
now
Walking Dead before the show came, because I
and
think
now
Walking Dead was pretty
There
big.
was a
and
the
now
game.
everybody doesn't want to know what Walking Dead is anymore because it's been
Yeah.
going on for so fucking long.
Yeah. And it's also some of Robert Kirkman's writing, like, was kind of not like early 2000s, but more like Robert Kirkman esque. Like, he definitely has some very specific writing tricks and like, tidbits and like kind of kinks he puts in there. That's, only translates to the show so much given like what they're able to do. But you could still tell it's a Robert Kirkman show, and uh really solid like voice cast, and people that have like worked on like his other series in the past, like obviously Steven Yeun is now in this, and it's just like it feels like a almost like a cartoon you'd watch in the early 2000s of like Justice League Unlimited, where they like do stuff like more grounded, a bit more realistic, but with the safety net torn off. Like, not to the point where characters are just gonna die no matter what, but more like, no, being a superhero is dangerous and people can get seriously hurt, even just the physical stuff Mark has to deal with.
Mm,
And like, how it's like Kirkman clearly gives a lot of thought into the superhero world. It's a different kind of version of Venture Bros. If you're, as in, it's like very pragmatic and grounded, and it's very character driven for the most part.
mm. So, do you think it is worse or better than season one?
I say it's on the same level. I think the only thing is that what might kind of get people set, like, it doesn't have that big oh shit moment that you have in the first season with Omni Man just brutalizing Mark. Because the thing is, like, it builds to like stuff like that later on. And as someone who has read the comics, like, there are bigger oh shit moments in the comic, but the thing is, like, you have to build to it in order to it to really have that payoff. And like with Amazon Prime, how many episodes is that's just 8?
Yeah, it was just 8.
Yeah, with just 8 episodes, you can't really get that level. Uh, but I like the character moments in this, as well as like the Adam Eve special, and just like the small stuff that gets added of like, it makes these characters feel very real, and like that superpowers are like, they have great abilities, but there's also like they're not, nothing's like infallible in here, as opposed to like, I don't know, like like a problem with like Green Lantern a bit, or like other DC comics in general, of like, it's too much and too hard, where a lot of people compared Adam Eve to like Hal Jordan, but the thing is, like, Hal Jordan can basically just do whatever he wants with his ring. He can warp reality, he can travel through time, he can steal people's powers, he can read minds. Eve has like a level of like limitness towards her that like kind of makes her feel a bit more impactful when she does do anything a bit bigger.
Mm, yeah.
Yeah, and of
Uh,
course, the multiverse stuff. I remember when that got announced that season 2 was going to tackle multiverse stuff. Everyone kind of rolled their eyes, but it's like, no, the comics did this like way before. It's just a different time. But I understand if you're a bit tired of like multiverse fatigue as well.
yeah. Dusk. Get your thoughts here.
Um, it's fine. If you want more incredible, you got more incredible. If people who are disappointed
You mean
in
Invincible?
Invincible,
Mm.
sure. If you want more Invincible, you get more Invincible. If you want more atrocity, horrible shit, trust me, that you'll be well within it for next couple of seasons. This
Mm.
is honestly a lull. This is a kind of lull for Mark
Mm.
for the amount of crap that he goes through much later. So you'll get it. Um, I'm gonna be honest though, I do not like the release schedule that they've had with this
No.
series. That actually kind of soured me a bit on this, where it's okay, 8 episodes, and then you made a 4, and then you made people wait for a couple of months, several months actually, and then you release the rest of these. And by the time there were a lot of people who went, "Oh, it's out again now," I kind of had just let it go.
Yeah, I forgot about it.
So I forgot about it, and then now people are gonna have to wait even more to then the next. And people understand about animation, completely understand how long it takes, especially to get the quality you want. But if you're gonna do that, you have to then just let it be a lump. All right, we're just gonna release it every couple of weeks at a time episode once we've collectively finished. So that way we kind of keep the hype alive or keep it going progressively. But that's all, and it's not just in Invincible. Other shows have been doing this too, where they've been having like poor and poor release schedules,
Yeah.
and I think that would really help it because right now, only now is it starting to pick up the steam it did, and honestly, I think also it's not a matter that the season is any better or worse than the previous one. I actually disagree. It's just very different from the first one. The first one is you're gonna of course people are gonna be like, oh man, that was so amazing, all this crazy stuff happened, and this is like, okay, well now you're just kind of left with the crazy stuff. You got to kind of put the pieces back together, so it's not going to be as explosive as it was in that first season. But like I said, trust me, if you want horrible things to happen to Mark, just you wait. Just you wait.
Yeah. It's a thing that like as I get older and like understand more industry stuff, like it's like a criticism I can't have as much on the show anymore of like just in general of like I even remember the whole do you guys remember Steven Universe and like the Steven
Yeah.
Bomb stuff and how they would release like 3 episodes at like every 5 months, but they would only release like it on like one day and people entirely missed it. And I remember even hearing like some of the writers and like creators talk about like we had no control over how Cartoon Network released our stuff and stuff of like Hazbin Hotel also only got like 8 episodes despite being like a gigantic like weirdly enough like a gigantic property by the time Amazon Prime picked it up. It's that like it we're at a level of streaming services and like we're so past network television that we're at that level of like, all right, if Netflix or Hulu or Amazon Prime wants you to make a show, they go, okay, 8 episodes, you better hit this out of the park or we're canceling it right away. It's like you gotta give like some creatives more time. You gotta give them like almost like the room to fail. I remember Breaking Bad also infamously only got like 2 more seasons because it premiered on Netflix and well, like season like up to season 3 they put on Netflix and like it just blew up on Netflix. It's like you gotta let these things build or you're not gonna have something that iconic.
So with season 2 of Invincible, is it better? Is it worse than season 1? I would say that, season 1 you had the kind of build up there and Mark discovering Omni-Man, his dad, and then who he really was, and then that whole kind of climactic, big climax of an ending there. Um, you did kind of have that going on. And it was very much introducing you to this world, and people were like, even in the first episode, like, oh shit, you know what I mean? Like this is what we're in for with this show. And then season 2, I think maybe the break, for some people, because it's almost like, with the first half, you almost maybe forget some of the stuff that happened in the first half, and maybe you gotta go back and watch it again because it's like it did take that little bit of break in between. But the anticipation was still there because the ratings for the second half of the season were still strong. They were still very good. So the viewership didn't. I don't think that it didn't hurt that much there by the season break. And then the animation, yeah, it takes time for these things to kind of build and for them to work on this stuff, and take more all the time that they need for a season 3 there. And just this season is just dealing with, as Dust mentioned, picking up the pieces, the crumbs there that Omni Man kind of left behind there, the body parts there, because you saw the stuff with like Debbie, for instance, Sandra Oh's character, the wife of Omni Man. You saw her and her trying to like move on from that, and then she's just completely, what I mean, devastated from that and trying to move on, and then you see her kind of trying to do that, and then at least have some sense of kind of normalcy back in her life again, of like trying to maybe go out and date again, or
Mhm.
what I mean, now that Oliver comes into the picture, who's Omni Man's son there that he had with the what do they call the race of people there that speak? The
Thraxon,
Thraxons, yes.
maybe, or yeah, it was also Kim Wexler's voice actor who was the wife. The Kim Wexler from Better Call Saul. She played the bug lady that Omni Man had a
Oh,
kid
really?
with. Yeah.
Oh, okay, nice. That's pretty nice. Yeah, you saw that, and then yeah, it's a lot more. I think this season a lot more character stuff
Mhm.
here. I think you see a lot more, even though the first season had a lot of that too. But just a lot stuff with Mark, and then with Stephen Yeun, I think does a great job with the voice
Yeah.
acting here, of just all the pain in Mark's face, and what I mean, his determination there. I think you really hear that in his voice. And with even other stuff with the other characters as well, like Adam Eve, with the stuff she's going through, with her trying to figure out what type of hero she wants to be. She takes a break from the Guardians of the Globe, because with her power set of what she can do, it's like she can really change things on a global level just with her power set. But it's just like, how can she really do that, and how can she really do that? So she's trying to figure all that out. Then there's the stuff with the Guardians of the Globe, the interdynamics between that team, and then you have like one of the newer members, Bulletproof, who basically breaks down. He's like, "So
Yeah.
wait, you got this one guy who took the body of one of the other members of the team, and now he's trying to mac on the monster girl, who's the girl, and they're trying to form a relationship, even though she don't like his ass." And then you got another dude who's immortal, who's lived like hundreds of years, and he's fucked up in the head.
Mhm.
And then it's like, you get all this kind of stuff going on. Did you think some of to you was one of the weakest kind of storylines going on here? Do you think it was just a little too much for the 8 episodes, and what do you think was kind of the weakest one for you there, Mike?
I think kind of a fault of the show, almost like the fault of doing an adaptation like this, of kind of the whole, like a lot of stuff of like Amber's relationship with Mark. It's kind of Mark stuff with his friend William. At this point, it's kind of like they're kind of speed racing through the relationship now, especially with like kind of the backlash they got from the first season. But it's like it's one of those couples of like where the relationship is going here, uh, of like it's gonna break up, and like it's kind of like we still get those moments of like just characters talking about their feelings, and I think it's done better in this than season one. But it's like kind of one of those things of just like when you're in a series and you see like an obviously end game goal with like the characters, and then you see like, oh, but we're gonna do a Willy won't they, and they're gonna be dating other people, and so they don't really mesh. It's like, would the office go for as long as it did if like Jim and Pam just never like got together in like season three? Or like at some point it's like you gotta cut the fat. But yeah, it might be a weak part. I still like a lot of the stuff with Amber in season two, but it's just it's one of the, it's almost like filler to the degree of like, okay, I know where this is going.
Yeah. I don't dislike the Amber character as much as maybe some other people do. I like her. I like the relationship. I like it feels like a real relationship, and then when
Yeah.
they eventually do break up, it just like it feels. I think that was a really well written scene there. There's a
Mhm.
lot of really well written scenes in this season here, and that was kind of one of them. Of they break up, of like, eventually it's like, it's dangerous being the spouse of a hero, and you see that danger there, and what that's like. And yeah, I mean, it would be awful for somebody who had to go through what she went through of her life just in an instant, like Anissa, who came, who's a much going to be much more serious threat later on that you're going to see what happens.
Uh-huh.
Of like in an instant, she could have just killed it right then, just like almost squishing a bug there. And you kind of saw that. But I thought that was really good. But it does kind of feel a little like, okay, spinning the wheels there. And you have to give a good valid reason why they break up. And I think they do, of just he spends so much time away. I mean, he goes to space like 3, 4 times, and
Mhm.
he's missing all his classes, and college. It's like, man, you might as well not even go to college. I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
what's the point?
The comic
Um,
did something similar, but it was more grounded and a bit more realistic, I think, for most high schoolers who date and then go to college together. Of like, they just kind of drifted apart when they became adults.
what about you, Dust? Did you have a kind of a weak storyline there that you thought? Um,
Uh, yeah, there's a bit of wheel spinning in this. I think mostly, I will say this: the Amber character was better written. What's interesting is I did hear it that the reason why the Amber character in the first season wasn't up to snuff as everything else is, and they opened up. They said, "Yeah, we effed up. Actually, we used an earlier script by accident for her, and we didn't realize until afterwards that why she sounds like it doesn't quite fit with everything else. So we made sure to be closer to the comic a bit more and make sure that everything was right. And yeah, I mean, it's hard to balance everything that's kind of happening in 8 episodes. Maybe with 10 or 12, they could have given a bit more time, but maybe I would have given probably 10, maybe 2 more episodes and then just let it. But
Mhm.
with the state of how long it takes to make these, with how much money they're given, budget wise, and what they were trying to do with this series, it's all up in the air. I don't get to make these calls.
mm, yeah. Yeah, I mean, 8 episodes is kinda what they do here. Maybe it could have benefited for a couple more just to kinda do some more things here. I mean, I'm always up to see more Invincible anyway, I mean, regardless there. I'm always up to see that. Um, and then you see kinda more, like I said, setting up for more stuff, like, you see the setting up of how to actually defeat the Viltrumites,
Mhm.
when that kinda comes, of them kinda maybe planning for that. Seth Rogen, who voices Alan, who's Alan the alien,
Yeah.
if you see there, who gets stronger when he dies. That's kind of when the power of this kind of species there, and he kind of is part of a coalition that's trying to stop the Viltrumite Empire from taking over all these different worlds. You also see with Omni Man, he's changed man. You see him in this new season where he actually learns the value of connection, of human life, of life there, and with the kind of Thraxans, you had the Viltrumites come and retrieve him, and he felt sympathy, empathy for the Thraxan people there, what he going through. And these people only live for,
Once.
basically a year. Yeah, just
Yeah.
months there, before they kind of pass on to a new generation. But he fell for that. And, you see him kind of at the end of this season, he's going to be put on trial. He's going to basically get the death penalty from these people. Um, so you kind of have those elements kind of going on with this season. And I do think that, it's setting up, like I said, setting up more things here that if you do read the comics, and I even though I haven't read them, I do know what is coming later on, that people are still going to be like, there's still a lot of other holy shit moments to come, as Dusk and Mike mentioned before.
Yeah.
What do you think about Angstrom Levy, who is kind of the main bad guy of this season?
I liked him. I kind of had my hopes set on Phil Lamar to play him, like especially like his Count Veigar voice. I feel like that would have been perfect. Uh, but yeah, he's a pretty good villain. He's also kind of noted as like maybe Mark's like he considers Mark like his most arch enemy. Like of all like the villains in Invincible that are the maybe the Vershmites, like Angstrom's probably up there as like Mark's most iconic nemesis.
Mm,
Good villain. Very good usage of his power in this. The comic, it was very creative, but it's like again, it's like there's only so much you can do with the comic format. But like here, the way they use the animation to like have him go through dimensions and stuff like that, it's very fun. You don't really get some of the I was looking forward to some of the more eccentric facial features and stuff in the comic, but it's like I just assume it's kind of a limited budget thing, of course. It's like you can only use so much with like when you're doing animation like this, but we do also get like some oh shit moments. Like actually said out loud, like, "Oh shit!" In the 8th episode, where he like breaks Debbie's arm like apart, and you just see the bone come out. Like I covered my mouth and just did that.
Um, and some people were kind of mad in the final episode here when because like Angstrom leaving, you see that he, like I said, he can go through his powers, he can go through all these kind of different portals and end up in another dimension, another universe there. And like I said, we've had a lot of the multiverse stuff, everything everywhere all at once, and Spider Man and Doctor
Mm,
Strange. But some people were kind of upset that we actually didn't get to see actual Spider Man. We saw rip off Spider Man, Agent Spider Man.
technically, see Batman.
Yeah, I mean, did you think I mean, do you think it's stupid that people are upset about that? That you don't
I mean,
actually
how are they going to get the
A little,
license?
yeah. It's a thing of like people forget. Early mid 2000s was a very different time copyright wise. Not to say it was like perfect, but it's like
Mm,
no, there's more room for crossovers. But like now, it's like every like with how like so many companies are like we have to be connected with our merch and we can't like have anything go out there too much. And if you do that, we're gonna sue you. It's just like yeah, it's like what were they supposed to do? And but they got Josh Keenan back, probably the best Spider-Man voice actor.
mm,
Uh, he's up there at least, and like yeah. And to be fair, the comic in the Invincible thing of the Spider-Man Invincible crossover was it was like a full issue, but it was more so just like kind of like a cute crossover thing. It doesn't have that much consequence in the rest, but it's like it's fan service to a degree. But it's like Batman versus TMNT of like if you do that, it has to be its like own special.
mm, yeah. What about you, Dust? What are your thoughts on?
I mean, like I said, there's a lot of legal precedent now. It's not the same it was in the 2000s where you could have crossover after crossover. There also was way different holders of who held the licenses at this
Yeah,
point. Now you get a bunch of media conglomerates. They're not gonna play ball with each other. It's just kind of like a get over it.
it is
That-
also Disney, so
yeah, and screw Disney. Don't give them money.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know exactly. I mean, would have added that much if you actually got to see Spider-Man in his
Yeah, like how
costume.
how how long is he actually there? How
Like,
long are the characters actually there and relevant to the story?
like I don't know how much more that would add. I mean, clearly you get that it's supposed to be Spider-Man. It's Josh
yeah,
Keaton doing the voice. You get the Spider-Man actor. You still have that kind of same thing. Even when they initially did that in the comic, it was just Spider-Man's arm and everything like that. And then,
he
you
meets
know,
the Avengers, very
yeah,
brief.
yeah, he does in the when they do the crossover event. Yeah, he does come and go to Avengers Tower and meet some of the Avengers there. Yeah, so it's I don't know what that would have added. And then people say I was robbed. I was promised Spider Man. It's like actually you weren't promised Spider Man. They never said that. They just people assume that because Josh Keaton was doing the
Yeah,
voice.
you got
That's all.
Fortnite.
Yeah, you got Fortnite, you got that a little bit. He comes out there. So yeah, I mean, you do have that, but I also don't think they use the multiverse stuff as it's not too heavy. They do that. It's more again part of the story of setting up like in most universes, Mark actually is evil. Like he actually does join
Yeah,
his father, and they do kind of take over things there for the Viltrumite Empire. So that's just kind of I think it's good for story reasons why they do that, not
yeah,
just cool cameos.
yeah. The chances of this Spider-Man being a character like Akuma in that Tekken crossover is like exceptionally low.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know why I don't know why you were expecting that,
No,
and be mad about that.
I would. Yeah, I did think it would be funny if like there was just a brief scene of like him crossing over multiverses, and you do get a bit with like The Walking Dead where you can see more of like you could just see like some background shots from like other like Amazon Prime cartoons or whatever. But like at the end of the day, I am glad they didn't indulge in like the whims of fan service that much.
So what'll be your final thoughts and rating for this season 2, Mike?
I say like a good, very high street like tune in for it. Uh it's good. We're gonna get more stuff like this. Like it's also like just fun on its own. And it's if you want like a more adult centered superhero story that's like not trying to like overly shock you, the way some other like every now like when you hear like oh it's an adult superhero stuff, they kind of overcompensate of like here's something awful, here's some liquids, here's some fluids coming out of someone.
Yeah.
And like here's like some meanness is just over the top. It's like, no, if you just want like a superhero story that's you know training wheels are off, yeah, check out Invincible. Totally. Great performances, great art. uh Not really that much stuff like I have too many complaints about. I think maybe one of the, again, it's kind of said before, but like kind of how short it is and its release schedule. It's like I do hope we do get more seasons of Invincible, and or maybe like a big special,
Mm.
because I am afraid like I hope it's not just like you get 4 seasons and that's it. You get nothing else.
Yeah, maybe they'll do another special like they did Adam Eve. I
Oh
like
yeah.
to see one with Explode. I think they did good with him this season, and he's not just a douche like yeah he was in the first season. So you get a lot more with his character and his backstory. Him kind of stepping up, trying to be more of a leader. So I like kind of like
Yeah, I mean, I think that was my biggest complaint of season one is some of the characterization, and they did improve it on this. To us, to be fair, Rex Explosion does have some genuine concerns in season one that get actually brought up in this one. Where, hey, yeah, you stole my body, and you're
Yeah.
just walking around in that now, and you didn't ask for consent or any of that, and yeah, I'm kind of mad. Yeah, look, and also that girl did punch the living crap out of me when we were sparring, and actually that fucking hurt. So
For me, it's the voice of Rex. Most of the voice actors in this I really really like. I just do not care for Jason McDevitt.
Manzukis.
Yeah, Manzukis. It's kind of like other people with like Aquafina to a degree, of like where they're just in the studios, just like you're unleashed, do whatever, scream as loud as you can, because he kind of just plays himself whenever he's like doing anything. It's like the moment I hear his voice in this Asian Elvis close enough, I'm like, okay, I know all of your jokes, I know all of your humor.
Is Rex Explode? So is he like this in the comics or?
He's a bit more toned back. Like he's definitely a dick in the comics initially, but he's like more of a like average, like teenage dickhead, and he gets a lot more level-headed a lot quicker. Like he gets humbled like a lot faster, and he's just like, oh, that's awesome, Mark. And he has more casual conversations with Mark as well, and he gets his moments in the comic.
Yeah. Dusk. What about you? What are some of your final thoughts and rating for season
I
three?
mean, you're gonna watch it or you're not.
Hmm.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
be honest. If you watch season one, you're probably gonna like season two. It's a bit slower, but it's again picking up the pieces of the climactic. I mean, it's like you watched a train wreck. Well, the train still got to run. You got to pick up the pieces before something else can get on the track. That's pretty much this. And if you're a fan of season one, you'll probably be a fan of season two, and probably be a fan of season three as long as they keep this quality. That's the most important part. Is they were able to retain a lot of the quality of the earliest season. It's just a bit different because it's trying to tell a continuous story, and not every single part of a story is the same thing as what it was told before.
Mhm.
That's what long storytelling is all about.
Oh yeah, Invincible's long. It's a
Mhm.
long story, but like unlike a lot of superhero stuff that most people know, it comes to an end.
Yeah.
Uh,
So how many
Yeah, it does
seasons
have
of
a
the show
definitive
could they do? Like 6, 7?
5 or 6.
5, 6 ish. Just give it. I'm trying to estimate like the speed of some of the arcs in this, and like kind of the stuff they cut a little.
They'd have to cut quite a bit.
Yeah, I would say like on average, I'd say like 6. They might do like a fun special every now and then, but yeah, I would love that to see like some character specials and stuff like that. But like,
Mhm.
yeah, I really like what you got. Also, it's been a long time since I've heard a weapon of choice in a TV show or a movie in general. That was actually kind of a shock in the last episode.
Mm, okay, yeah, some good news drops there.
Yeah, you got some good music.
Yeah. I like the season. I think maybe, maybe when it's all the show's all said and done, or maybe when season 3 comes out and people binge watch for season 1, season 2 in anticipation for season 3, maybe the season 2 will look better in people's eyes
Mhm,
there. It's just maybe the break kind of just messed up things and you know what I mean as far as people's perception of it.
mhm,
I still think they did a lot of great things here this season, as I mentioned, the stuff with Omni Man and his change, the stuff with Mark, and his journey, Debbie. Adam, Eve, Explode. They do a lot of really great stuff with those characters and expanding them a lot more here. Even Immortal, Immortal gets some a lot of
Yeah.
good moments here as well that feel really good here. And just the weight of this. I mean, I think that has, like I said, the nice blend of if you want something a little bit more serious with your superhero stuff, but still also has that good, like, superhero adventures and things like that. This is kinda that nice
Mhm.
blend of things there without going, you know what I mean, too far, like something like The Boys where, I think, even I think the comic I've heard is way worse
Oh, the
than
comic is awful.
yeah, so the
It's a
show
different story at this point.
yeah, so the show does a lot better job there, but the comic I heard is really awful when it comes to a lot of stuff there, what they
Yeah,
kinda
Yeah, it kind of it.
it's
You
pretty
also have to,
racist
yeah,
too.
it kind of goes. It's pretty terrible. It goes for it most definitely. And
Well,
honestly, a lot of people who like, oh man, this show's really intense. Go read the comic.
I mean, the comic has like a lot of like weird homophobia as well, and
Mhm.
like some racism and
Oh yeah, no, it has the gambit. It has a lot more stuff that was yeah, they've toned down quite a bit.
yeah. It's an entirely different story, but also I do feel like a weird advantage Invincible has is that like it feels like there's a wider chance that characters in the main cast can die than the boys for the most part. The
yeah.
Amazon show, because especially like with some of the main villains and stuff, like for me, the boys just kind of kept on going. Like I feel like this is like a 3 season show at most. It's like we're doing season 4, we're doing Gen V, we're doing
Animated.
animation stuff.
Yeah,
Like, I
which
don't care.
yeah, but the boys was always a we have to do this within a certain period of time. The fact that they actually had prolonged it, I
Yeah.
kind of go, there wasn't much else left in the comics.
No, yeah.
It was you've already gotten by season 3. We're like, all right, this should be season 4. Better be it because that's it. That's all that's
They're
left.
doing 5 seasons, I hear.
Oh
Like,
God,
yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, let me finish up here with this rating here for Invincible. But yeah, so I still think it's a decent season. Like I said, with all the reasons there, animation. I think the action sequences look good. I know we didn't
Mhm.
talk about much of that, but I think they look good here. Like the stuff with Anissa comes in and then fighting Mark. And then I know a lot. I mean, hey, that's why the show's called Invincible because I mean, hey, he's invincible. I mean, he gets his ass kicked a lot, but he keeps coming back you know what I mean? He keeps coming back there, very resilient. I will say that about Mark there. But I mean, you also have to think. I mean, he's going up against people with hundreds of years, his senior, and then who have all these years of also fighting experience.
Mhm.
He doesn't even really know how to fully control his strength yet,
Yeah.
as you kind of see there. But yeah, I thought that was kind of impressive. And yeah, so I kind of think this is a
Yeah.
decent season. I think I may prefer maybe season 1 a little bit, but that doesn't mean the season
Yeah.
is very terrible or anything like that or very weak.
Yeah.
So I'd give it a tune in. I give it a
Yeah.
good strong tune in for me.
Yeah. I mean, they've also done other stuff, but it's like it's also nice to hear some older pros from like the superhero animation, like voice, like acting community, like Clancy Brown, come back and get like a pretty big character, and like Mark Hamill as well. It's nice to hear all those guys back.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. Yeah, Mark, who has I think he has a couple episodes this season as the tailor there for the superheroes.
Yeah, art. Yeah, you
Yeah.
got Clancy Brown as both the devil, no, Detective Demon, and General Kane, Krieg.
Krang?
No,
Krang?
it's been a while since I've read the comics. It's like Kane or Krieg.
Oh,
General Krieg, that's his name.
yeah. Yeah. So that was our review
Mhm.
for Invincible season 2.